forgiveness. Let go of the thing you said the other day. Let go of the thing you dread next week. Be here in this moment. Breathe.
Transcription.
Here.
It says live transcription.
Called raise. No. Choir song? Enjoy.
Weird.
Courage calls to courage. Courage calls to courage. Courage calls to courage. Oh, every day, every day, every day. Courage, courage, courage.
That choir wrote.
In these hard times, let us look first to the response of love. In the midst of challenge, may our chalice flame bear witness to the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. In the midst of uncertainty, may our chalice be a beacon of encouragement, that our values may guide our choices. Let us look first to the response of love.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Amy Brock, and I'm our Director of Religious Exploration for our children and youth. And I'm here with Stevie, one of our youth this morning. And we are also excited to have Nancy here with us this morning on this wonderful month when we've been learning so much about courage. And we've been learning so many things about courage, and I've been so inspired by some of our conversations in RE that I thought some of our RE friends might be able to tell us a little bit about courage this morning. So we have some questions, but you don't have to have attended RE classes this month to be able to answer these questions because we all learn about courage every day in our lives. So Stevie's gonna ask some questions, but if you have an answer for these questions in your head, whether you're on our carpet or not, feel free to just shout out your answer after you share them.
What is a sport or a game that helps you feel courageous?
Soccer. Any other sports or games that help us feel courageous? Pickleball.
Skiing.
Skiing.
I love skiing.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, those are really courageous sports and games.
Yeah, I love Dungeons.
Yeah. Okay.
What is a food that felt courageous to try?
Ooh. What was that? Asparagus. Oh my goodness. Lima beans.
Yuck.
Scorpions. Oh my. Say it really loud in the back. Octopus? Avocado? Oh my, so many foods that we've been courageous to try. Whoa, worms? I don't know. That's pickled herring. Oh my goodness, we've been so courageous. Courageous with our food choices. Okay. Oh my. All right. You know, I bet everybody has been courageous with their food choices at some point in their life. That is so cool. Thank you for thinking about that.
What animal do you think represents courage best? But instead of telling us the name of the animal, share the sound that it makes.
Ready? Let's all do it together. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And now that we have shared some things that we have learned about courage, I would like to invite Nancy to share about courage with us.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Nancy Stevens. My pronouns are she, her. And I'm going to start with singing a song that I'm going to sing the whole thing to the adults in a little bit, but I'm going to sing you my favorite verse of this song, and maybe we'll chat about it afterwards. It's called What You Do With What You've Got by Sai Khan. Now what's the use of 2 good legs if you only run away? And what good is the finest voice if you've nothing good to say? What good are strength and muscles if you only push and shove? And what's the use of 2 good ears if you can't hear those you love? It's not just what you're born with, it's what you choose to bear. It's not how large your share is, how much you can share. It's not the fights you dream of, but those you really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got.
Nancy, what do you think your favorite line of that song is?
I think my favorite line is, what's the use of 2 good ears if you can't hear those you love? Does anybody else have a favorite line in that song?
You have a favorite one? What you do with what you got.
Yeah, it's not just what you're given, right? So if you have some gifts to share, which all of you do, right? All of you kiddos up here? Can I hear a yeah? Yeah, okay, good. Because if you raise your hand, I think most of you know that I can't see you, right? So it's like if you close your eyes, that's what I see. Nothing. So Amy might not today, but maybe sometime. I'm going to be showing a video. I have been lucky enough to be a cross-country ski racer and a bike racer, did triathlon. So I did a lot of fun things that take courage. And the reason I could do them is because I had lots of support to do that. And so does anybody, can you think of anybody that supports you to have courage? Anybody think of somebody?
Moms.
Moms, good, yeah.
And dads.
Your dad is good support to you, good. That's great.
Got teachers. Friends.
Does
And
anybody
dogs.
have a question for me that I could answer really quick before you do the covenant?
Do you want to share it?
I want to tell you guys a fun story about this girl. This is Winnipeg. Isn't she cute? She's adorable. She's 3 years old. She's my 5th guide dog. And a week ago, I have a new job, and I was learning my way to the bus stop and back. And I had to cross 27th Street with a light. I'm like, ah! Okay, talk about courage. Everyday courage, right? And we haven't really been crossing at lighted intersections because there aren't that many in my neighborhood. And we did so well. And she is just awesome. She remembered everything we learned in class. And so we can get to the bus stop and back.
Sounds like Winnipeg had some courage too.
Yes, we did. We had to face all those big cars.
Oh my.
She is a good girl.
Well, thank you all for sharing about courage. We're going to keep exploring courage today when we go to our RE classes. After we say our children's covenant, will you help me say the children's covenant? In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved. All right. Let's form our arch and we shall go.
As you go, may choice.
The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received.
I do finally that I could not feel? What would I do if I believed with the wind always fill up my sail? If I believed, how far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. What could I achieve? If I were brave, I'd walk the wind lasers hit where fools and dreamers dare to walk and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today? 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 What if I were brave? If I were brave, what would I do today? If I were brave. What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What if we're all meant to do? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? What would you ask? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? In the heart of a seed. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare. I'd walk and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today? What would I do today? What would I do today? What would I do today?
We now enter a time of sharing our joys and sorrows in community. Anyone is free to light a candle in one of the trays along each side of the sanctuary during this time. In good times and in bad, it is good to be with one another in community.
Yes, I took in, I wrote a joy that was delivered by email from Megan Hooker. Hi, Megan, if you're watching. So she was sharing a joy. Oh, here they are. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll just let Dirk continue.
Thanks, Chela. Megan's joy is that after 2 weeks in the hospital, she was released on Wednesday, October 12th. And after a week recovering in Massachusetts, her mom and her have flown home on Thursday. It's really good to be recovering from surgery at home. Great news, Megan. From Liz Doherty, as winter sets in here, let's keep in our hearts the people of Ukraine as they face loss of heat and continued war. And from Becky Dabrowski, this past week is the 12th anniversary of Jim's cranial tumor removal. I and many more are thankful for his continued health and presence. Indeed, Becky. Congratulations, Jim. Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain, but for the heart to conquer it. Let me not look for allies in life's battlefield, but to my own strength. Let me not crave in anxious fear to be saved, but hope for the patience to win my freedom. Grant me that I may not be a coward, feeling your mercy in my success alone, but let me find the grasp of your hand in my failure. By R. Tagore.
There are as many thoughts about courage as there are people. What one person finds delight in creates panic and fear in others. How many people here need courage to speak in front of an audience? Who would not hesitate to jump on a theme park roller coaster? How about asking for help? Who has to gather courage before asking? Or standing up for someone or something? Here are a few definitions of courage for our time today. Moral courage is the courage to stand up for what is right when a person or group of people are being treated unfairly. Moral courage is the outward expression of our personal values and beliefs. Disciplined courage is the ability to remain focused and unwavering in light of setbacks or failures. With disciplined courage, you stay true to your vision and the impact you want to make on the world, community, or self. Intellectual courage is the ability to recognize our individual limits in thinking and be open to new ideas and understandings based on new experiences and learning. And last, empathetic courage is the courage to put aside our own assumptions and stereotypes and listen to another's perspective. This opens us up to feel deeply for others and to learn from their experiences. Courage like this requires thinking and feeling, questioning and challenging ourselves, going deep within and honestly and courageously seeing who we are and what we stand for. Knowing change is a constant is comforting and terrifying altogether. It seems to me that we at UUFCO are a courageous people. The word courage comes from the Latin cor, cor, which means heart. According to poet Mark Nepo, the original use of the word courage meant to stand by one's core, a striking concept that reinforces the belief found in almost all traditions that living from the center is what enables us to face whatever life has to offer. To encourage means to hearten, to impart strength and confidence. This is our work as a religious community, to encourage one another, to be bold in engaging the world around us, as well as what scares us internally, to give one another the confidence and heart to live as fully as possible. Nancy Stevens has been a UUFCO member since 2010 and is a house band member currently. She is a program coordinator for Central Oregon Disability Support Network and helps families with advocacy and access issues. She is a former para-Olympian, which we saw on the video, for cross-country skiing and a 3-time world champion for triathlons. She appreciates all her friends and family who support her in being courageous. She has been gracious enough to speak today and answer some questions around courage, and we will provide time afterwards for you to chat with your neighbor to reflect as well. Nancy will start with a song she insisted she play, which she played a little for the kids, and you will get to hear in full.
Thanks, Noreen. This song is called It's What You Do With What You've Got. It was written in the Year of the Disabled back in 1980, a long time ago. And I'm going to sing you the whole song. So. It's not just what you're born with, it's what you choose to bear. It's not how large your share is, but how much you can share. And it's not the fights you dream of, but those you really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. Now we all know someone like him, tall and strong and lean, a body like a greyhound and a mind so sharp and keen, but a heart just like a laurel root, all twisted on itself, till almost everything he did brought pain to someone else. It's not just what you're born with, it's what you choose to bear. It's not how large your share is, but how much you can share. It's not the fights you dream of, but those you really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. Now what's the use of two good legs if you only run away? And what good is the finest voice if you've nothing good to say? What good are strength and muscles if you only push and shove? And what's the use of two good ears if you can't hear those you love? It's not just what you're born with, what you choose to bear. It's not how large your share is, but how much you can share. And it's not the fights you dream of, but those you really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. To those who use their neighbor and those who use a cane, between those in constant power and those in constant pain, to those who run to evil and those who cannot run, tell me which ones are the cripples and which ones touch the sun. It's not just what you're born with, what you choose to bear. It's not how large your share is, but how much you can share. And it's not the fights you dream of, but those you really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. Thank you. Here you want? There you go.
So we're just going to sit here and have a conversation, and then Nancy's going to answer questions, and like I said, we'll give you time to answer some questions yourself. So can you recall a time you had courage to face a fear or a personal struggle?
Yes, so one of my earliest memories was when I was in about 4th grade, 9 years old. I was a shrimpy little kid, and a teacher, I went to a school that half of the school was for kids with disabilities, so I was in a resource room with 3 other students who were blind. There were 4 of us, and then all of us spent most of our day in a regular public school classroom. And my teacher at that time in the regular public school classroom told my parents in front of me that I was worth 5 extra students in her class, and she really didn't want me there. And my teacher told me it was time to go to Miss Anderson's class, and I started to cry, and I was just like, I really don't want to go there. She makes me stand in the corner. Whenever my Braille writer would ring, she would say, "You're interrupting the class," and she would make me go stand in the corner. And I didn't know what to do about it. I was scared. And so my teacher in the resource room class, who I'm still in touch with today, believe it or not, she asked me if I would tell the principal of this public school, whose name was, believe it or not, Dr. Doolittle. Great guy. Great man. And I was like, me go talk to the principal? And so with her support, I did go tell him what was happening in the class. And the next semester, they moved me to the other 4th grade class, who that teacher loved having me in his class and encouraged my interaction with all the students. So that was that was a really scary but educational moment for me, even though I didn't realize it at the time.
Absolutely. Did it give you confidence to continue being courageous?
Yes. So years later, when I was at Kalamazoo College, the director of foreign study didn't want me to go overseas. And my parents went with me to talk to the president of the college to say, hey, I signed up to go to this college because of foreign study. And it took him from September, when I first started meeting with him, till June, right before I was supposed to leave, to say yes. But I did get to go on foreign study. And he said to me, the director said to me, well, I'm not going to let you travel when you're over there. And I said, and are you going to stop me? And he said, well, no. I said, that's good, because I already bought my Eurail pass.
Just try and stop you.
So yes, it did give me a lot of confidence.
How about for people closer to you, like family?
Yeah. So I feel really fortunate that my parents, when they first found out I was blind, they had the courage to not send me to the school for the blind, which is what, most of the educators were telling them, doctors, and send her to the school for the blind. And they kept me at home, and so that I could grow up with my 6 siblings. And their question to me whenever I would say I want to bike to school or climb the tree in the backyard or whatever it was, it's not like, okay, you can't do that. It was, how are we going to make this happen? And so, we did a lot of brainstorming, because there weren't a lot of organizations like Oregon Adaptive Sports or other organizations. So we had to make it up as we went along. And the teacher who went with me to the principal's office didn't make me do it alone. She was there with me. And so sometimes we need each other in a moment, I think, when we want to be courageous and stand up for something. And that's why I think all our social justice groups here are so important, because we have each other to lean on a little bit when we do get discouraged.
Are there any things that you want to talk about with courage outside of your blindness?
Yes. So when I was 30, I was going to participate in gay games in New York City. And what used to happen to me often was I would do a news interview or something, and my relatives would call my parents and say, hey, I saw your daughter on TV. And I would forget, I should tell them that was going to happen. Well, I was a little worried that if I went to gay games, and being probably the only blind athlete there, that I might get interviewed. And so I thought I better tell my parents that I was going to gay games. So I had a lot of support from PFLAG. And for those who don't know PFLAG, it's Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. And we had a very active chapter in Frisco, Colorado, where I was living at the time. And Frisco is a town of about 2,000. So it's a very small town. And these parents, again, they were very courageous to start this chapter, I think, and very supportive of all of us. And so they encouraged me to call and just gave me a lot of, hey, how you doing? They'd call me and check in. And so I finally called my parents and I told them that I was lesbian, and they didn't talk to me for about 3 months. It was very difficult. And when it was my mom's birthday, one of the members of PFLAG said, it is your mom's birthday, you should call her. Even though, and it wasn't a real warm call, I have to say, it was a little. And then it was their anniversary, and I called again. He said, keep calling, don't give up, keep calling. So I called, and it was like nothing had happened. And so I don't know what changed, but we had a conversation, and my mom, somewhere in the conversation, said to me, well, I think maybe that you're gay because I couldn't teach you to flirt with your eyes. So anyway, that was kind of funny, and I was like, Mom, that's not why I'm gay. And then many years later, after my parents divorced, my dad and I were talking, and he said, well, I would like to find a girlfriend. And I said, I would too. And we laughed. So it was nice that, we actually finally came to some understandings.
So how do you stay courageous?
I think it takes a lot of reaching out to other people, asking for support, which I know is sometimes hard to do, but really staying with what your belief is, and it's finding that strength inside myself and being firm with what I'm passionate about and finding my allies to support me in that.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you, what do you wish you had the courage to do, or what would you do if you weren't afraid?
Many of you know that my dad and I were in a terrible kayaking accident. Let's see if I can make it through this. I used to love to just swim laps. That's kind of what got me into doing triathlons, because I moved to a city where I didn't know anyone, and I didn't have guides to bike or run. And so I thought, well, I could swim because I don't need a guide for that. I could just swim by the lane lines. And after the accident, I have not really been in a pool. I'm really sort of afraid of the water. I'm really afraid to put my face in. And so I'm really working on trying to not be so afraid. And Duncan, I went with the UU group June after the accident happened, and we went to Sparks Lake and got in the kayak, and it was a little nerve-wracking, but we did it. I was really happy. Thank you to Duncan and the kayaking group. They were very, very supportive of that. And then last summer, I taught at a camp for kids who were blind, and I was the swim instructor for 4 individual kids who were particularly afraid of the water. And so what that did for me was make me think of their safety and what I'm teaching them, with the caveat that I didn't have to put my face in the water.
That's fair.
The camp director said that was okay. So I worked with those 4 kids. So it got me in the pool for a couple hours a day. And I had one little boy who was 9, and he jumped in the pool, and he said to me, "Now I want you to jump in with me." And I was like, sorry, I can't do it. I did get up on the edge and think about it, but I just couldn't do it. So yeah, maybe some year I'll get brave and get back in the pool and swim laps.
Who is the most courageous person you've met, and why or how are they courageous to you?
This was a hard question for me, because at first I couldn't really think of anybody. And then I was like, oh gosh, I know a lot of people. And I mentioned it earlier. My parents were, I think, particularly courageous. I was born in 1960, and there weren't a lot of services then. And so for me to be part of the family, and when it was my turn to get the two-wheel bike and learn how to ride it, they said yes. And now I biked across the country and raced in triathlons and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So you never know as a parent what seeds that you might plant for your kids that will really affect the rest of their life, the choices that we make and everything. So especially for kids with disabilities. And so I really, really appreciate both of my parents, who have both passed away, that they have given me a lot of courage and resilience and ability to live, really live. And I had an experience when I was at Nationals for triathlon many years ago. I got bronchitis right before the triathlon. And I was really bummed with my running performance. And I was sitting next to this woman and we're chatting about our race. And I was saying, gosh, I really was bummed about how bad I did in the run part. And she goes, well, I didn't do that great today either. I have one lung and a above the knee amputee. And I'm like, I have nothing to complain about. And then, you know, people I haven't met but who I think, I've been on news hiatus since before I went to Switzerland this year. And I just can't bring myself to get back into the news. And, but Stacey Abrams, just what she did for the state of Georgia, I think took so much courage. And Liz Cheney standing up for, you know, I was just like, yes, say it, it's okay, you know. And, you know, there's a lot of consequences for them. And I really appreciate who they are as women.
Anything else you want to say before we pose the questions to everyone in the congregation?
Well, does anybody have questions for me? Noreen can call on you.
Because you're such a teacher for people all over the community that you touch, what was the explanation you gave the little boy when you wouldn't jump in the water with him?
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
She wanted to know the explanation you gave to the boy when you were camping, that you wouldn't jump in the water with him.
Oh, luckily for me, his counselor was with him as well. And I had told each child individually that I was overcoming some fear of the water. And I didn't tell them what happened. I just said I had been in an accident and I was still overcoming fear of the water. And so I wasn't, you know, I didn't give them all the details, but yeah. I did tell them. And I think it helped us bond. I had one teenager that I was working with, and a year ago, they couldn't get her to stay in the water. And for whatever reason, she loved swimming with me, and we would just sing our little hearts out while we're swimming down the lane line and I'm hanging onto the wall. And so I think we just really bonded. One thing that we did do, she and I did, is I was teaching her to tread water, and she, we went to a little bit deep, not all the way to the deep end, but where neither of us could touch. And I said, do you want to try treading water for 20 seconds without touching the wall? And she said, I will if you will. So usually my motto with kids is I don't ask them to do anything I won't do. And so I was like, okay. And she says to me, I believe in you. So it was really sweet. We had a great time together.
That's great.
But yeah.
One more question.
So Nancy, you've shared a lot with us about your athletic activities and prowess, but you haven't shared with us how you got into music and the courage it takes to be up in front and playing and singing. So would you share some of your musical stories with us?
Oh, thank you, Mark. So when I was young, my parents gave me a little toy piano for, I think, my 4th or 5th birthday. And it was little down here, and it had a little bench with it. And I would hear something on the radio, and I'd sit down and play it. And my parents were like, wow, how did you figure that out? I don't know, I just heard it. And so our next door neighbors at the time had a piano that they gave to us. And my mom found a piano teacher and got, I think 4 of us took piano lessons. But I didn't like the piano when it was that big. And I went to Catholic school starting in 6th grade, and we had all school mass. And so I started singing with the band for all school mass. And I wanted to play guitar because I'll tell you, back then I had a crush on Joe Badalamenti. Anyway, I would just had this little crush on this boy, and I wanted to play guitar like him. And my mom said the guitar was a boy's instrument. And so my brother had the guitar, and whenever the family was gone, I would take it. And I figured out that if I took my piano lessons and learned the music theory, that I could teach myself the guitar. So I was teaching myself the guitar, and my mom walked in on me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm playing the guitar." And she's like, "Why? I want to hear that." And I said, "Okay." So I played her a song. She goes, "I guess you can play the guitar."
A little late to stop you.
So then all the way through high school, I played for guitar mass every Saturday. I went from there. I was a music education major in college, and I love teaching, so that's another thing I love to teach.
And Leora said there's one on Zoom? No? Yes?
Don Song wanted to know if you would talk about the courage it takes when you have to let go of your guide dogs.
The courage, sorry, it's echoey, so I can't.
What the courage it takes when you have to let go of your guide dogs?
Oh, yes. You know, when I had my first dog and I had to make the choice to put her to sleep, I had some wonderful support from Seeing Eye, where I got my first 3 dogs there in New Jersey. And the trainer said, you know, they've done a lot of hard things for you over the years, so now it's your turn. And it was not easy. It never is. You think after 4, well, the 4th one is still living with my neighbors. She just turned 12 in September. That's Abby, for those who remember Abby. It is hard. It's definitely, it's painful, like it is for all of us when we lose a pet. And for me, it's kind of like the extension of my left arm. Like, whoa. So yeah, it is very, very difficult.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
We have a slide for the 3 questions, and if we have maybe 3 or 4 minutes, if you turn to your neighbor and pair off, and if the numbers are not even, you could do 3, and we can ask questions of each other, pick one question and answer it. And if they don't come up, I will read them really quickly. What do you wish you had the courage to do, or what would you do if you weren't afraid? You could speak to who is the most courageous person you've met, or can you recall a time you had courage to face a fear or a personal struggle? And I'll let you know when your couple of minutes are up. So find a friend and have a chat.
The closing hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Please remain standing. For love is the spirit of this fellowship. This is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
The world is too beautiful to be praised by only one voice. May you have the courage to sing your part. The world is too broken to be healed by only one set of hands. May you have the courage to use your gifts. May you go in peace.